November 3rd, 7:19 in the morning. Slept okay. Need to start prioritizing that better. But anyway, that's not the point. So I am going to start vlogging. I'm pretty sure. And at minimum, I'm going to start capturing moments. And I want to share this about me because I know others deal with this. And it's hard. Like, I don't know why I'm like feeling emotional about it. Like, I've never personally felt emotional about it, but like thinking that other people are out there suffering and maybe in shame and wanting to hide. Maybe that's where the emotion's coming from. But anyway, so at my highest, I weighed about 310. Officially 307.4 was the highest I ever weighed. I'm pretty sure I weighed 310 or whatever, right? As a kid, I was too skinny. Then I gained a bunch of weight because I wanted to play football. I'm not blaming my dad, okay? But the reality is this. I was a thin kid. I did not have an appetite. I had been sick a lot. And I really wanted to be like my older brother and play football. And the first year I was eligible, I literally did not weigh enough, right? Like, they have a weight minimum. And I don't know how, because I remember playing with the smallest kids in the world, but I didn't weigh enough. So my dad said, look, you just got to put on some weight. And so, I mean, I just started eating, whatever it took, right? So I just started eating. So I gained, like, at that age, like 15, 20 pounds. Like, that's a lot in a year, but like, I learned how to eat. And then throughout most of my years, depending on if I was in a growth spurt or not, like, I would be anywhere from pretty fat. I mean, I'm not morbidly obese, but like chunky monkey, to slightly fat when I went through a growth spurt until my eating caught up with me. And then as a teenager, I was active and I was working and I wasn't playing sports and I wasn't needing to eat very much, and had done a bit of running and was in better shape, and so I didn't carry a lot of weight. I was in decent shape, but I ate a lot. Like, not intentionally, but I ate a lot, and I burned through it all. And then graduated high school, and freshman 15, and then baby, wife, work, bad habits. I can't see the light. I'm driving. Don't do this, kids. And I would gain 5 to 15 pounds, 20 pounds every year. And I remember specifically when my wife and I, when she was pregnant with our daughter, so I'm like 20, 21. She had gained a lot of weight with the first one and didn't want to gain a lot of weight, and the second time, and I also gained a lot of weight, and I didn't want to. In fact, I wanted to like really trim. So I think at the time I was like 230, which had been the heaviest I'd been. I think she started at like 150, which was bigger than she was in high school, but that's what happens when you're a baby maker, right? No big deal. Well, she and I set 200 as like a floor and a ceiling for each of us, right? So like, I dieted and exercised and got below 200, and she stayed below 200. So we were both like thrilled with that outcome. But then normal life happened and normal habits happened, and so through the years, right? So from my early 20s at 200 in decent shape, never worked out again, pretty much, like, except for like a 6-month period with P90X, which really worked, and I stopped because I met some goal. Whatever, dumb. That's a whole nother video. Okay, so let's get on point. I'm gonna park so I can kind of think about this. I'm at the gym, by the way. We're going to, everyone's favorite gym. The only reason I signed up for Planet Fitness specifically, it's weird how like the things that have to happen for you to like do something. Um, it's not, hey Josh, you'd like to be more healthy and you'd like to trim some fat and gain some muscle, and this would be good for you long term, and you can live longer for your kids and your grandkids, and have more energy and whatever else. No, that wasn't enough. It's like I've got this like massive like midlife crisis road trip that I'm doing, and turn the world upside down and go find myself, blah 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 blah. And so while doing that road trip, I need a place to like shower. So Planet Fitness, $27 a month. You can shower anywhere. They're literally almost everywhere. Um, so it's that. And then I don't remember, but like my friend Tabitha and I were chatting the other day, and we wanted to go exercise, and she's like, I have a membership at Planet Fitness. So I'm like, I'll go. And then that triggered it, right? And then I signed up the next day at my own. Okay, so here I am, Planet Fitness. Okay, so I want to get to the point of this, right? Because I could talk for hours on this video. And I will think about this so I can be more concise, so that I can like deliver something to whomever will consume this content, and hopefully they can get something out of it. But right now, let's talk about eating. Like, I have disordered eating. And, I've never called it that, right? I've got a food addiction. And I was talking about this with someone yesterday, right? Like, I kind of flippantly said, okay, so I was giving away some whiskey. I had 2 different bottles that were half full. I don't drink anymore. Like, it's been like 22 months. I'll never drink again. So I'm giving away some stuff. And, someone was at the house, and I was giving them the 2 bottles, and they're like, I'm just trying to choose between one or the other. I said, well, just pour them together, right? And they're like, oh, really? You could do that? I'm like, yeah, it's an infinity bottle, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's the thing. That's pretty cool. I learned that from Matt Shockley. Shout out Matt Shockley. So I said, hey, just pour one another. And they handed it to me and said, can you do it? And as I'm doing it, I'm like, so you're going to make an alcoholic pour his own liquor into his infinity bottle to give it away? Just kind of joking. And she's like, what? You're an alcoholic? I'm like, well, not like technically, right? Because I don't feel addicted. I don't have an alcohol drinking disorder. However, like whatever is inside of me that makes me drink when I know I don't want to and it's bad for me, that makes me eat, that makes me addicted to social media, that makes me blah, blah, blah. Like, to me right now, the only way I know how to describe it, it's a dopamine disorder. It's it's needing a shock to my system. I've got to have something to like get me going, get the juices flowing. Otherwise, I'm like dead inside. Um, yeah. So call it alcohol, call it eating, right? I'm addictive by gambling is a whole nother one. I'm addictive by nature, and I want to dig deeper and learn more about that, because I think it's impacting parts of my life that aren't related to what traditionally feels like an addiction. Okay, but like I have an eating disorder. Like I eat too much. Um, so a couple things for me. One, I almost never feel satisfied. Sure, the food tastes good. It's a pleasure thing, right? Like my brain chemicals are going off. Like it's fireworks inside of me. But like the food itself, right? Like after a few bites, that part's gone, right? I've got this thing for me personally. Like I like, if people ask like your favorite food, your favorite restaurant, I don't care. Like I want the new thing. I want novelty. I want to experience that thing. I want my brain to light up in a way that it's never lit up before. So like after a few bites, that's generally gone. So then I get in this habit where I order multiple things so that I can experience that more. And then there, that food scarcity mindset, clean your plate off. Um, you know, throwing good money after bad, sunk cost, right? Like, ask me about these things. We can talk about them, right? But like your brain says, like, you got to keep going, whatever it is. But like, so if it has to do with food, I just keep eating. Well past the point where like anything about why I started eating, that joy, that pleasure, like that's all gone. I become aware of this. Like I know that it's gone. I know that I'm not enjoying it. I actually think to myself, you're no longer enjoying this. This is actually bad. You're actually full. Why are you doing this to yourself? And I still just keep eating, right? So like last night I had a dream. I don't remember my dreams very much, but I've been remembering them lately over the last week or two for some reason. Um, that's a whole nother thing. I don't know. Okay, so I have this dream where I'm sat at this table. I'm talking to a customer. She had on her name tag at like an event that she used like Ozempic, blah, blah, blah. This was like a technical conference for like oil and gas. And like this was like a subtitle, like her pronouns, right? Like this was about her. Okay. And I said, man, what a lifesaver, right? Because in July I started using Mounjaro. Um, because I need help, right? I want to get better physically. I want to get a different relationship with food. I want to drop fat. So I needed this, and I do not feel any sort of way about it other than grateful. So anyway, so we're talking about that, and I'm fine talking about it openly. I've got a colleague over here that's eavesdropping. He thinks I'm talking about something different, and he's trying to interject. I'm like, hey, get out of here. Um, so we're talking about this story, and I'm telling her about, distinctly have these memories of like buying a pie, a 10-inch pie from HEB, local grocery store for those that don't know. Pretty good bakery. So I buy a pie with the intention that I'm going to eat it over 5 days, which is way too much pie. But it never lasts past the second day. It's typically gone somewhere in the middle of the second day. And that first slice, which is usually like 1/6 to 1/5 of the pie, is a big slice. And I'm very satisfied when I eat that. But then I just keep eating and keep eating and keep eating. I've actually eaten I'm pretty sure an entire pie in one day. And during the process, and I'm describing it to this lady in my dream, like, I don't enjoy it, right? That would be so much more pleasurable. I assume, I've never tried it, but to do that over 5 days. um, but it got eaten in 2 sittings on the same day. It's, so I don't know my purpose of sharing. I don't know why that happens. I don't know anything other than I've got this problem. Um, and so I just want to get it out there. Just one other person in this world that maybe you can relate with. Um, I'm going on a journey. Highest weight was 307, July. Um, Me personally, super low testosterone, getting testosterone replacement. I'll talk about that in different videos. I'm not sure if I am going to continue that or not. I'll explain some of the reasons why. It's not for everybody. It may or may not be for me. I'm undecided. Talk about some of the rationale behind that. I started on a compounded tirzepatide, 2.5 milligrams. Well, there's two different medicines, but anyway, it's called the 2.5 milligram dose. That's the equivalent of the 2.5 milligram pen. Self-injected at home with insulin syringes. I stayed on that dose for 4 weeks. During that time, I came across an opportunity for someone I know in my life, was using Mounjaro, the prescription, name brand, whatever. They had 6 pens of the high dose 15 milligrams that they were never going to use again and gifted those to me. Wow. Like that's worth a lot of money. That definitely took the financial pressure off of things, allowed me to take that. I injected that into a vial, and I still self-administer from that vial, right? A specific dose, right? So right now I'm kind of, I have an odd dosing schedule. Again, I'll talk about that in a different video. But I'm around 5 milligrams a week. It's starting to maybe not be quite as effective as it had been before. So I'll talk about that experience, right? So for me, back to the original reason of this video, sharing about this eating disorder. So I don't really get full. There's nothing that like turns off in me that says stop eating. This is, pre-injection. Constantly thinking and obsessing about food, the next meal, right? These are common things that people talk about. Hungry after eating, right? Hungry in an hour. Difficulty making the right food choices, just constantly needing to go find something. And I find now, even on this stuff, right? Like if I have a day where I'm feeling hungry, most of the time I can go grab the good thing, the lean meat, the high protein, a chunk of cheese, right? These things that are part of my plan that fit my macros. But sometimes I'm not satisfied by those, right? Sometimes it's like, it's just not enough. It's just not enough. It's just not the right thing. So I am kind of feeling myself dropping back into that pattern after a few months. Perhaps some of that's like the fatigue of dieting. Anyways, so yeah, I hope I hope that one person watches this video and you felt like, or what I said at least resonates with you, and that you don't feel alone. If you ever want to reach out, I will have a conversation with you. I will answer your questions. I will listen. I will understand. I will empathize with you. And when we're done, we won't have a pity party. If that's the end of it and we move on with our lives, great. If you want some advice, if you want me to share some things, if you want to ask me some questions, I'll do that. So you tell me what you want. That might change during the conversation, but I'm here for that person who listens to this video, who might get anything out of a conversation. Maybe this will be the first video I post on YouTube this weekend. How about I just do it? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to work out for a little bit. I'm going to go walking. Well, first I'm going to go drop some stuff off with a friend. I've got a couple things I'm donating. I'll post the video today, November 3rd. It's another thing I'm addicted to, is procrastination. I'm addicted to like making up the thing I'm going to do and the plan and getting excited about the plan. Again, this is a dopamine thing, right? Dopamine's about chasing, right? I get all excited about the chasing, and everything seems so easy when you're pumped full of dopamine and it's all happening in your fucking brain. I'll try not to cuss too much because I know that doesn't jive with everyone. I cuss a lot, by the way. Yeah, I'll come up with a name for my YouTube channel. So just so you guys know, right? So I plan on sharing life experience, road trip, car camping, house sitting and pet sitting, working remotely, reviewing products, reviewing services and experiences along the way, an inside look at what it might be like to live that aspect of my personal life, or to visit that thing, or to use that item. We're going to talk about investing. and we are going to talk a lot about Bitcoin. We'll talk about fitness. We'll talk about health. We'll talk about hopefully mindsets and the shifts that I make in mindset and the growth that I experience as a 43-year-old who I don't think really understands himself yet. Really, like I absolutely don't. We'll talk about my family a little bit. We'll talk about overseas travel. I do want to move and live somewhere else. I think the first, not think, the first place I'm going to visit is the Philippines. It checks so many of the boxes. So we'll review airlines and lounges and tours and people and street food, the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll do budgets, travel budgets, what to pack in a backpack to do 21 days in Philippines. We'll talk about TRT protocols. We'll talk about Mounjaro and the similar GLP-1 group of drugs. Oh, I'm also at work. I started a weekly live video podcast with a partner on LinkedIn and YouTube. So at work, I work for a software company. We sell software to laboratories that do testing, typically like chemicals and petroleum-based products, refining, that sort of thing. And then we also sell software that does like statistical evaluation, what's called statistical quality control, like trending, graphing, predictive type stuff. So I have 17 years of lab experience. I've got coming on 8 years at this software company. I focus on that SQC package. I would be considered a subject matter expert in that area. There are many others like me, but I feel a calling to create educational based content, share information, and then it also corresponds with a perfect timing with my job where I'm moving away from like a delivery and operational, customer service job role where I'm managing projects and people and deliverables to more marketing and sales. And so leveraging that content will create content that drives people to our website, provide free services. Of course, at the end of that, our goal is to increase sales. But this will be a big transition for me, right? And the timing is perfect. My kids are now grown, mostly. They are out of the house, mostly. They've blessed me to go on this road trip and go explore things. And so everything seemingly is lining up. And I'm just going to fail forward and do it. And I'm going to catalog the experience. If for nothing else, for me, for my own growth, for my own tracking. This is an epic journal of mine, but I think others will enjoy it. And if that's one person, great. If it's 10,000 on a video, if it's 1,000,000, even better. If I can monetize that, like I would be through the moon. All right. I got nothing else. Have a good one.